Oh, Bricker19, Bricker19, this here's the Gear Jammin' Deer. Whitetail has got your front door, come on. Now, you may immediately notice that this does not appear to be where I should be starting this video. First of all, you'd expect me to be starting it in a menu. If you remember what happened in episode 5, I said that I was going to just revert back to where I was at the end of episode 4, which should be in the menu. But it appears that I already have a job, which is odd. So here's the thing. I'm going to get underway here while I explain all that's gone on. First of all, the audio might be a little bit worse than it has been in previous episodes. I've got my mic set up a slightly different way at the moment to basically just make it more comfortable for me to sit while recording. I may try to find a better solution in the future, but for right now, this is how it works, and hopefully the audio will come out decently. Anyway. Let me adjust these mirrors before I forget. Not seat. Definitely need them adjusted when I don't have spot mirrors. Okay, so aside from the video starting in what should be a weird place, you probably... I didn't hit that. The game lies. You probably also noticed that the episode number appears to be incorrect. It says episode 8 when it should say episode 6. So here's the thing. I tried to record episode 6 so many times. Like, I think there were 6 separate times. I don't remember what went wrong for each particular try. I know there were at least 2 tries where I just straight up forgot to hit the record button. There was one try that I started recording and then like 5 minutes later had to get up and get on the road in real life. And then wasn't able to come back to the game until like 2 days later. And by the time I got back to the game, it had been updated. And it had canceled my load. I think there was another time that the recording got corrupted by something. That's not something that happens to me often, but I feel like that happened one of the times, I don't remember. But just episode 6 has been a massive rigmarole. It got to the point of earlier today, so this is being recorded on the 5th. The last episode, episode 5, was recorded back at the beginning of April. With all the episodes before. Like, episodes 1 through 5 were all recorded the same day. So, in order to keep my upload schedule that I've had this series going on, I needed to record episode 6 today, basically. Because I'm probably not going to have another chance to before Friday now. So I sat down and tried to record episode 6. I was going to record at least another 4 episodes. That was the plan. So this was my 6th attempt at recording episode 6. So at this point, there were basically like 5 different branching paths that this profile could have gone down. But I had to keep going back to my old save because I kept not having footage for one reason or another. So this time, I finally got episode 6 recorded. I did start with the recording. I actually have both screens set up right now. So I'm able to have my recording software on the second screen. So that I can keep an eye on it and make sure it's actually recording. So, because of that, I decided when I got to the end of episode 6... Don't tell me the game's about to crash. Okay, thank goodness. When I got to the end of episode 6, I decided to just keep going into episode 7 without pausing and restarting the recording. Because I was able to look at the recording software and see, oh, I'm right at 40 minutes. So I'll know when I'm editing to just cut at the 40-minute mark and make the 2 separate videos like that. And there was, you know, a rough 10 minutes of footage that needed to be cut out of episode 6. So it still that episode would have ended up still being about 30 minutes. But anyway, so I decided to do that. And then, right as I was getting towards the end of episode 7, I went to do a save edit, and I was trying to show in the video how to do what I was doing, and that'll be explained later. Long story short, I think I accidentally hit a button that turned out to be a hotkey on the recording software that abandons the recording. So it doesn't save it, it just stops recording and deletes whatever it already had. Which I didn't even realize such a hotkey existed, because why would it? That's stupid. So, I'm not sure that that's what happened, but I think it's what happened. I glanced over at the recording software after an hour and 10 minutes of recording footage, and it wasn't recording. And the footage was just nowhere to be found. I was not happy. I was actually so unhappy to the point that, well, first of all, I was about to throw my computer out the window. So I calmed down from that, and then re-enabled the recording software and recorded a quick video explaining what had happened and declaring that the series was over because I couldn't stand it anymore. Because once again, that was my 6th attempt to record episode 6. Something had happened every single time that screwed it up. So I recorded that short little video explaining that the series was done, uploaded it, got it all ready and scheduled, and then went and had lunch and, relaxed and watched some YouTube and watched a movie and, just got my relax on and decided that I had overreacted just slightly. And I also realized I was falling into the same trap that this series was supposed to stop me from falling into. That's the reason I tend to lose interest in making these series, is I was worrying too much about the YouTube production value. I don't like producing videos, as I've discussed in the past. I like recording the videos, and I like the idea of having a YouTube channel, but I don't like producing the videos. But my channel isn't big enough for it to be reasonable for me to pay someone else to produce the video for me. So that goes back to the topic that I think I talked about in episode 2 of this series, about basically making this series as easy to produce as possible so I don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. And basically, in trying so hard to make this story cohesive, I wasn't doing that, and I wasn't sticking to the realism I was trying to stick to with the series, because I kept going back and reloading a previous save. Whether something good happened or something bad happened, it didn't matter, because I went back 6 times and reloaded a previous save because I kept not actually recording it. And it's like, well, that's against the whole purpose of this profile, which is to be as realistic as possible. It's not realistic to keep going back and restarting. So this is what I've decided. From now on, I'm still going to attempt to record everything. But if that doesn't work out, I'm just going to keep going. Episode 6 actually would have been the second time that the profile split into an alternate timeline. The first time was episode 4, I want to say, that I'd forgotten to hit recorded what I actually thought was a pretty good episode, and then realized that it hadn't recorded. So that had annoyed me then. So I went back and re-recorded episode 4. And you wouldn't have known. So that's what I was going to do with episode... But it's just getting too complicated, and once again, it was going against the point of this series, which is being realistic. And at the end of the day, you didn't really miss much. Like, if this happens with an episode that a lot actually happens, I'll be annoyed. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more careful. For one thing, I went into the settings and I deleted the hotkey to abandon a recording. But also, whenever I record an episode of this series, I'm going to do it with 2 screens, so that I can have the recording software up on the second screen and make sure I can see that it's recording. And everything like that. So, basically, I was caring so little about the series that I was doing below the bare minimum to make sure I actually got footage, and then getting upset when I didn't get footage. So now I'm actually going to start doing the bare minimum. The other thing that I'm going to do, if and when I do occasionally lose footage for one reason or another, I'm going to make just a quick recap of roughly what went down in that episode. So, I will be, instead of getting episode 9 next week, I'm going to upload the recaps for episodes 6 and 7. So if you're watching this now and you want to see that, they'll be out next week. If you're watching this in the playlist, they're actually going to be uploaded in the correct order on the playlist, so you'll have already seen those recaps. And that's what I'll do going forward if I lose footage. Because that way, that upholds the integrity of the realism of this profile, which was the whole goal of the profile in the first place. I am speeding. Holy shit, when the speed limit go down to 55. That being said, you wouldn't really know the speed limit's 55. Oh, you're gonna... Wait, are we back in California? Gosh darn it, I didn't realize this load was taking me through California. This load is going from Phoenix to Kingman. Once again, when you see... Seriously? I'm really tempted to save edit and remove that, because obviously a cop working on some form of drug bust or whatever that was isn't handing out speeding fines. That's actually the main reason I usually play with traffic infractions off. The way they're applied is kind of ridiculously stupid. But I'm not going to mess with it for the sole reason that I acknowledged that I was speeding and then didn't do anything about it. That's really annoying, though. That is actually my first traffic ticket, though. Like, even in all of the episodes that I recorded that didn't actually get recorded, I've never actually gotten a ticket. So that's sort of interesting. Why couldn't why couldn't that have happened in one of the attempts to record episode 6? Of course, if it had happened in this most recent attempt to record episode 6, then it wouldn't have mattered, because I would have been keeping it anyway. Though, then I maybe would have just gone and saved it and edited it out. Because, once again, in that particular instance, getting a speeding ticket there kind of doesn't make sense. Come back up here. It is good to know, though, in general, that the police cars that spawn as part of random events still do act as police cars, because I wasn't actually aware of that. Flash, stop licking your paw. Did you see that maneuver from that Range Rover? That was a bit, funky. Funky is what I said. So you might wonder why this episode is going up before the recaps for 6 and 7. The reason for that is mostly just to explain why 6 and 7 are going up as recaps and not as full episodes. I don't know, in my head it just made more sense to do it this way. But I didn't want to have this just be episode 6, because then there's a huge jump that I got to explain in some way. Oh, and the other thing is I'm not going to... Like, I'm always going to stop the recording and save the video after every episode. I'm not going to try to record 2 episodes in a single sitting anymore. Or, well, it'll be in the same sitting, but I'll still tab out of the game and stop and then restart the recording. So that if something somehow... Like, basically, if it was a software bug and not me accidentally hitting F6 that caused me to lose the footage earlier and it were to happen again, I'd only lose 1 episode and not 2. All that work to escape California in the episodes y'all didn't see, just to end up right back in California. With a load that wasn't even going to California. Should have looked at the map to see which way it was sending me and go a different way. I'm specifically trying not to say anything about what happened in the episodes y'all didn't get to see, because this series is more or less being made to be watched in the playlist, and anyone who's watching it via the playlist will already know what happened in those episodes, because the recaps will have come first in the playlist. Cop gonna give me a ticket too? Bastards. need to turn down my random event spawning. Oh, my controller's in front of me. I can actually use my jig brake. Oh, that's right. This is a hold and not a toggle. I need to change that. Dang it, 10 speed. So in episode 6, I drove a 9900 that had an 18 speed and a decent amount of power, pulling a light load. Now I have a 9900 with a 10 speed and probably not a huge amount of power, pulling a heavy load. Makes sense. What? Oh, that's right. Remember I told you there was a bit of a gap between when I didn't record episode 7 and when I'm recording this? I was originally looking at taking a load from Phoenix to Kingman, but I ended up not doing that. I'm glad I didn't record the recap yet, because I would have told you guys this wrong. I ended up deciding to take a load from Phoenix to LA because it was paying really, really good. Well, now I feel even stupider for getting that frickin' ticket earlier. Alright. Another $180 and I'll be back to where I was before I took that load. See what we got here in LA. Hopefully not something that crashes the game. Where is LA? There we go. Are you kidding me? In Los Angeles? Seriously? Take a nap. So I see that the time... That mouse isn't connected to anything. I see that the time changes immediately, but does it actually update the load board in real time? No. I don't want this load. This load is garbage. I think I'm gonna take a 34. I've been working pretty hard lately, you know? Let's see what's around after that. Oh, wait, no, I need one more hour. Where's the 0? There we go. Let me reload this. If there's nothing here, I'm going to be really annoyed. Darn you. Darn you to heck. What's an Oxnard? Don't want to take another load from Oxnard! Why does all of this suck? Actually, this one's pretty good right here. Auction art to print, that's... Yeah, that's pretty long. But the money, though. But it's heavy, and it's got a horrible... Actually, that's not that bad for a day cab. $1.16 a mile. This is why I've been putting skill points in the ADR stuff. I don't think I can really not take that, can I? I gotta say, I am actually kind of tempted by this, too, though. Like, obviously, it's paying a lot worse. Though I have heard talk on the forums about crashes up in that area. I am on the 1.50 update, obviously. I had mentioned that in episode 6, but, you know. So, you know, it's still in the experimental beta phase. So there are a few bugs. This load is actually even heavier and has a worse truck. Well, I mean, it gets me back out of California, so, you know. Excuse me. Unfortunately, I am just about out of time here. These mirrors are... That one isn't. There we go. That's a bit better. Let me just get this out of the yard here, and then I'm going to go ahead and finally complete an episode. God, why is the seat so far forward in this truck? I knew it was just that too. I can't hold on. This is the first truck I've been in that I actually cannot stand where the seat position is. That's much better. I've noticed that I'm a lot pickier about where my camera is in-game now that I drive trucks in real life. Or it might have something to do with still being used to having my track IR. Which I could actually set up in the truck, I just haven't. Let's take a quick look at this setup here. Oh, it doesn't have a stack? Oh. This truck just does not look right without smokestacks. This truck actually has a surprisingly old school look to it. Ooh. I have mail. Mail is exciting. Alright, we're on 101, right? Yes. Alright, perfect. There's a rest area at the top of the hill over here. So I will stop there and end the episode. I've never actually been into this rest area before. This is a horrible design. Alright, so we're going to end this episode right here. I've got to go record those recap videos before I forget more about what actually happened in the episodes. And then I'll be picking this right back up in episode 9. So until then, thank y'all for watching, and keep the hammer down, drivers.